The military of Ivory Coast, officially known as the Armed Forces of Côte d'Ivoire, Forces Armées de Côte d'Ivoire, FANCI, is responsible for national defense and maintaining internal stability. It consists of the Army, Air Force, Navy, Republican Guard, and Gendarmerie. Historically, the military has played a central role in the country's political landscape, especially during civil conflicts and power transitions. After the 2002-2007 Civil War, FANCI was weakened and divided between government forces and rebel factions. Following the 2010-2011 post-election crisis, the military underwent restructuring to integrate former rebels into a unified force. However, it continues to face challenges such as poor discipline, mutinies, limited resources, and dependence on foreign military support, particularly from France and the United Nations. Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, is known for being the world's largest producer of cocoa, a major exporter of coffee and cashew nuts, and one of West Africa's strongest economies. It's celebrated for its rich cultural diversity, vibrant music and dance traditions, and religious tolerance. The country is also home to modern cities like Abidjan, stunning Atlantic beaches, and UNESCO-listed national parks. Additionally, it is recognized for its contributions to African football, having produced stars like Didier Drogba and Yaya Touré. Our struggle will succeed. It will succeed because we believe in God. And if God is truly real, if He truly exists, then I cannot believe that we will fail. When I made this commitment before God, as I've already told you, within just 4 hours I said to Him, God, what I am about to do, if I am not on the side of truth, do not give me the means. If what I'm about to launch as a military operation will bring suffering, if it strays from truth, then close every door to me. At that moment, I had nothing, no weapons, no money, not even the beginning of a means. But I said, God, if what we're going to do is going to restore justice, bring peace, and create equality for all Ivorians, then give me the means. And God did. It didn't come from a man. It didn't come from a friend. The support I received came directly from God. That's how I got involved. That's why I have no regrets. If it hadn't been God's will, I would never have received the resources. Dear parents, dear brothers, dear friends, let me reassure you of something. A lot happened in the CNO zone. Yes, there were killings, theft, and looting, many things that stained the rebellion's name before my arrest. But let one thing be clear, I always tell this to my younger brothers. When you commit to something, do it with sincerity. The moment the rebellion abandoned its original purpose, which was to protect the people, it lost momentum. It stagnated. It stopped progressing. It only created more victims. So we stepped back, we paused, we told ourselves, let's stop everything. Elections were coming, and we didn't want anyone to say it was IB who opposed them, that IB didn't want peace. I said, let's be silent, let's stay quiet and prepare, because we're not God, we're not invincible, but when you know the truth, when you know the reality on the ground, you also know what's coming. We were convinced these elections would lead to war, so we prepared. They moved forward with the elections anyway, and what was the result? Here we are. They found no solution except taking up arms, attacking Abobo, attacking Anyama. But thank God, with your blessings, and despite our limited resources, we held strong. We resisted. Gradually, we gained strength. And how did we arm ourselves? From our enemies. When they fell into our ambushes, we recovered weapons. It was God's will. Without God, none of it would have happened. It's not our strength. It's not because we're special. We are nothing more than actors, servants of the people and servants of God. That's our mission. We destabilize the chain of command of the FANCI General Staff through resistance. That's the truth. They tried everything. They sent the circus. The BAE, the Armored Battalion, the Besa. They sent the entire coalition. All the commanders. We know them. We went to military school together. They came with everything the Ivorian army had, but they couldn't break us. Not your children. Thanks to your support. Thanks to God. That's what we must recognize. Yet some people sit around disparaging this enormous effort, saying they're nothing, they did nothing. But that's not the issue. God knows the truth. And what happened, God knows it was real. On that day we launched the offensive to liberate our brothers at Makam. From there we pushed into Yopougon. Within 24 hours we secured most of it. Only Nyangon remained. It wasn't easy. Your Yopougon is vast, packed with militia, but we succeeded. Every battle requires strategy. You don't just run into the field with weapons. That's not how war works. It takes preparation, study, discipline, thought. Then you execute with command structure. We knew the BAE was the most powerful militia, so we had to take them down first. It was tactical. In 4 hours, under my deputy's command, the BAE fell. We seized their weapons. We captured the command post. We secured Ndokua. Then around 7 p.m., we heard a convoy was coming down the highway. No one told me anything. No warning, no calls. IB, your brothers are coming. Nothing, but they were heavily armed, supplied by others. The men said, should we let them enter? Coup called me asking, what do we do? We can't just watch. I said, don't. Give anyone a reason to blame you for a mistake. Let them come in. They're not our enemies. Maybe they're on a mission. Let them enter. If the army with tanks couldn't breach us, these men certainly won't. And they entered. With music, with fanfare, dozens of vehicles brimming with weapons. They went straight to Akban. They charged at the television station. They shelled for hours, through the night. But in the morning they were exhausted. They had missed every target. We let them shell. Then we counterattacked. It was a rout. Many didn't even know Abidjan. Some were from the villages, dressed up and shipped here. And they lost. We chased them back onto the highway, and again they turned back. We were forced to retake the area, from the town hall to the command post. Hospitals overflowed with the injured and the dead. Tell me, is it normal to take other people's children and send them to be slaughtered? When you enter a village, the least you can do is greet the village chief and ask, what can we do together? But these powerful men only wanted to crush us. They forgot God stands behind us, and so do you. I told my men to fall back. We took control of the Yopougon sector, specifically Dikwa and the industrial zone. We secured our base too. Then we went on standby. We began preparing, mentally, physically, because we knew the next phase wouldn't be easy. So we rested and let them take the field, let them liberate Abidjan. But where are we now? Thousands dead. I won't continue down that path, but these are facts. Dear family, we didn't stop anyone. We didn't expel anyone from the television station. They say they took it, but the truth always rises. They didn't take Akban. They shelled it, yes, but did they take it? Akban is still standing. Gagbo is still at home, and he keeps speaking as he wishes. I swear, if our brothers had consulted us, if they had given us just 48 hours, dear relatives, I swear to you, 48 hours, Yopougon's operation would have toppled Deby. He would no longer be in power today. Our struggle will succeed. It will succeed because we believe in God. And if God is truly real, I do not believe that we will fail. When I made that solemn pledge before God, I said, Lord, if we are not standing for truth, do not give me the means, because I had nothing, no weapons, no money. But I also said, if this struggle is meant to bring peace, justice, and equality to Ivorians, then give me the means. And he did. It didn't come from a man. It didn't come from a friend. That's how I knew it was divine. That's how I got involved. That's why I will never regret it. Without God, I would have received nothing. Dear parents, brothers and friends, I say again, many things happened in the CNO zone. There were crimes that stained the rebellion's name, but never forget, sincerity must guide your commitment. Since the rebellion strayed from its founding goal, protecting the people, it has gone nowhere. It became stagnant, and it made more victims. That's when we pulled back, and we waited. We didn't oppose elections. We didn't want anyone saying IB was against peace. I said, stay quiet, prepare. We are not gods. We're not invincible. But we knew this election would lead to war, so we prepared. They held the vote. The result? Armed conflict. They attacked Abobo. They attacked Anyama. But despite it all, your blessings and our faith helped us resist. We armed ourselves through strategy. God made it possible. We don't need to boast. We are not miraculous. We are servants of truth. They sent everything. The circus, the BAE, the armored forces, the entire coalition, and they failed. Because we stood firm. Not through power, but through faith and unity. And yes, people mocked us, said we did nothing. But God sees all. He knows the truth. That's why when we freed Makam and pushed into Yopougon, we knew exactly what we were doing. Strategy, not improvisation. Planning, not reaction. That's why the BAE fell. That's why we took Ndokwa. And that's why, when the convoy came, we let them in, because we had no fear, and because we had already won through conviction. But still, they shelled us. They failed. They were routed. They came with heavy weapons and lost, because the truth cannot be concealed. It stands. And we stand. That's why I say, had we received just 48 hours, Debbie would not be in power today.